Has anyone seen the Browns on the Poindexters?
Oh, they're always late.
Well, while we're waiting, I'd like to introduce Dr. Theodore Kemp of the Ashmolean, who'll be taking you around the museum tomorrow afternoon. And he'll be talking to you this evening after our Elizabethan dinner. And Cedric Downs of St. Thomas's College, who'll be leading you around the colleges tomorrow morning. He's going to talk to you now.
I hope there won't be too much walking, Mr. Downs. Some of us here are suffering with fallen arches from this trip already.
Well, what is too much? We don't have travelators at Oxford yet, I'm afraid.
It's only a couple of hours in the morning, Mr. Aldrich, then a good rest before the museum in the afternoon. Actually, tomorrow's a relatively easy day compared to the day after. Blenheim Palace, then Stratford-on-Avon.
I thought it was Stratford-upon-Avon.
Oh, yes, it is, of course, but...
And we'll be sitting down there, won't we, in the theatre?
Fast asleep. The last production I saw was anything to go by.
Yes, well, I don't think we'll wait for the others. Cedric, would you like to,
Thank you, Sheila. Now, before we begin, I wonder if anyone's interested in modern architecture at all. Oxford isn't all medieval, you know. We have some fine examples of contemporary design. St. Catherine's College, for instance, by the Danish architect Arne Johansen.
Jacobsen, Cedric.
What?
Jacobsen. You said Johansen.
Did I?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So sorry, I meant Jacobsen. Oh. All these Danes, you never meet one called Hamlet, do you? Well, if anyone is interested...
Mrs. Williams, could I have a word?
Well, I'm very sorry, sir, but Chief Inspector Morse asked for you especially. Right, I'll tell him, sir.
Dr. Swain has been our doctor for some time. We've never had any complaints about him before.
Oh, well, sir, that's the Chief Inspector for you.
What is? Do you mind if we use your office for a moment? Lewis, this is Mrs. Williams, the group's organizer.
I'm so sorry about all this, Mrs.
If you wouldn't mind.
Right. Well,
Thanks. Sit down. Sit down. You look as though you could do with a drink.
It's a shock.
Anything that looks like drink round here, Lewis?
Looks like he's got everything, sir.
What would you like, Mrs. Williams?
Oh, G&T would be fine.
Gin and tonic for the lady. How many in your group, Mrs. Williams?
12.
That's not very many, is it?
Well, it's rather a special tour for the... It's quite expensive. The whole idea is to be rather exclusive.
Oh. And the rich do so hate answering questions about themselves. Have you found that?
I don't know. I don't mind asking them.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask everyone where he or she was between 4:15, when Mr. Poindexter left his wife and went for his walk with Mrs. Brown, and 5:15, which is approximately when they returned.
I'm sure they won't mind that. Thanks.
Anything for you, sir?
Oh, thank you, Lewis. Not on duty. Would you like to go about your inquiries? Oh, and ask Dr. Kemp if he'll come here and see me, will you?
Yes, sir.
Another?
I'm sorry,
Nothing to be sorry about. And where were you between those times, madam?
I'm sorry.
Look, if this is all too much for you... Had you got to like Mrs. Poindexter?
No, it's not Mrs. Poindexter. She was very difficult. Not that I'm not sorry. No, it's something else. Ask Dr. Kemp. He'll explain.
Drink? No, no. Better keep a clear head.
Really, sir? What for?
This news, it's...
You knew the lady well?
No. We'd never met. We'd corresponded. Of course, no. What I meant was... It's taken me 15 years to get the Wolvercott tongue to Oxford, Inspector. I've even set up a special display, and now...
You want to show me?
May I phone my wife? She'll be expecting me.
Well, I thought it was very peculiar, Sergeant. I mean, Mr. Poindexter and Mrs. Brown going out together.
Why's that, madam?
Well, I'd rather not say.
But you have said now, haven't you? And you are sure you saw them coming back at 5:15?
Oh, positive. I looked at the clock. The group was due to meet again, you see. And I thought they'd only just have time to be down again for the briefing. I thought the whole thing most extraordinary.
By the way, sir, what were you doing between 4:15 and 5:15? You were with Mrs. Williams, I understand.
Yes.
What were you doing?
I really don't see what bearing it has on this, you know.
May I be the judge of that, sir?
Very well. I was ending our affair.
I see.
I doubt it. And I very much doubt if it has anything to do with the disappearance of the Wolvercott tongue. I'm a married man, Inspector. My wife and I try not to do anything to hurt her.
But that means other women get hurt instead.
Sometimes.
So that's the buckle, and Mrs. Poindexter had the tongue.
They fitted together like that. We're going to be united for the first time in 1100 years.
Weren't they found together, then?
No. Small boy stubbed his foot against the buckle in 1873, swimming in a pool. Below the Wolvercott Bridge caused quite a fuss at the time. As you can see, it's an exceptional object. It was claimed as treasure trove. That word treasure, Inspector, it brings out the worst in people. Treasure hunters began to appear. One of them found the tongue, kept it, sold it to a London dealer, who in turn sold it to an American collector, who lent it to an exhibition in Philadelphia in 1922, which was the first any of us over here heard about it. But even then, the connection with the buckle wasn't made until the 1970s.
Who did that?
Me. I had this done for the show. It never was. She was going to leave it to the museum, Mrs. Poindexter. I've got it in writing. Whether she put it in her will or not.
What's it worth?
But on the legitimate market? Impossible to say. Nothing like this has come up for 50 years. $250,000, half, more, perhaps.
And a stolen property?
Nothing. Everybody knows it's stolen.
What about these mad collectors, these drug dealers in Bolivia, that sort of thing?
Don't think they're very interested in Anglo-Saxon jewelry, do you?
Who is that?
I can't think. Was anything else stolen?
Her traveling pearls.
But it's obviously a common thief. I dare say he'll get a couple of £100 for the pearls, and then when he finds out from the papers what he's got, he'll...
I'm sorry, sir. Thieves almost never give things back.
No, they just throw them away, don't they? Perhaps if we're lucky, in another 1100 years, someone will discover the Wolvercott tongue all over again. All right if I go home now?
I thought you were with the group.
I am, but my wife... Yes, I've got time.
Time for what?
To go there and come back before I have to make myself cheerful in front of these bloody geriatric Americans.
If you don't like it, why do you do it?
I shan't again. I only did it to help someone.
Why the bloody hell Morse has to drag me out to confirm a perfectly ordinary heart attack?
I think he thought perhaps it wasn't ordinary, sir.
He thought wrong, as usual. Ah, Morse. Not enough to do.
What?
Setting up as pathologist, I hear.
I wanted a second opinion, that's all.
There's only one possible opinion in this case. She had a massive coronary. She was dead in 2 seconds splash. Fell on her face. Look, you can see the bruises.
Where?
Where? Here, here, and here.
I mean, where was she lying when she fell?
Oh, just about here.
Yeah. Banged into the bedpost. Here's a nice little scrape of skin. Look.
Could she have had the heart attack after she fell?
I couldn't say.
Come on, Max.
Not possibly.
Could she have been pushed?
She could have been. And an angel of God could have stepped out of the wardrobe and called her home. That is not for me to say. You're the detective. All I can say is she died of natural causes. Good evening, dear.
Come back later on.
Something funny. The death and the theft. There must be a connection somewhere. Funny we knew exactly when.
Ah, sometime between 4:15 and 5:15. I thought you'd established this.
You couldn't be a little more precise for me?
Out of the question. Now, if you finally decided it wasn't a decapitation or dismemberment.
Where are you off to? High table somewhere?
Area Health Authority annual dinner. Dr. Swain will be there. I'll give him your compliments, huh? Good night, Louis.
Good night.
Try not to let Morse drink so much, won't you? It's rotting his powers of reason.
Did you find out where everyone was?
Yeah, they've all got alibis, more or less. They're either in their rooms or having tea. Oh, they all seem to know about this tongue thing. Mrs. Poindexter was always taking it out and showing it to people, apparently.
So it definitely was hers, then, not his.
Seems like it.
And who inherits? Who gets the insurance? If it was insured.
It was insured, I'm certain. I don't recall
Is it really necessary to ask all these questions at this time, Inspector?
Surely. He's just doing his job.
Oh.
Thank you, sir. Just one more question. Who stands to benefit from the insurance now your wife is dead? Is it you, sir?
I don't know. Well, I guess so. I don't have that information here.
All right. Thank you very much.
No, I was at Jesus, one of the less fashionable colleges, Welsh, you know, founded 1571.
I thought Jesus was at Cambridge.
No, he went to Bethlehem Tech.
Is that what they mean by the English sense of humor?
Where else would he go to do carpentry?
I don't see anything funny in blasphemy. Besides, they didn't have colleges in Palestine in those days.
My noble lords, is there a Master Cedric Downs attendant?